Welcome back, guys. This is the second video in our installment for the FSA Prep. I hope you guys liked the first one. This one should be under 5 minutes is my hope. I just want to go over powers of 10. We kind of talked about it past couple days in class. There's a special rule I want you to know, and then from there it's pretty straightforward. So there's only one special rule that I really want you guys to know, and I just want you guys to know that 10 to the 0 power is 1. And as long as we know that, we'll be good, because I've seen it where they try to trick you guys a couple times. So the first thing I just want you to realize is 10 to the 0 power is 1. And then once we go from there, it's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. All we're really going to do is when we work with exponents, it just tells us how many times we're going to multiply it. So if I have 10 to the first power, I'm going to have 10. If I have 10 to the second power, I'm going to have 10 times 10 are 100. If I have 10 to the third power, I'm going to have 10 times 10 times 10, which equals 1,000. And if I have 10 to the fourth power, I'm going to have 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which equals 10,000. All right. And the trick, there's a pattern here if you notice. 10 to the first power has 1 0. 10 to the second power has 2 zeros. 10 to the third power has 3 zeros. 10 to the fourth power has 4 zeros. It's really simple, okay? And that's going to help us when we multiply or divide decimals by an exponent. So one of the trick questions, and these questions could also be found on your FSA. They come from the item spec, so it's possible that these questions have been used before. And it says, what is the value of the missing exponent in the equation 523 divided by 10 to an unknown power that equals 523? Well, obviously, for 523 divided by a number to be 523, that has to be 0. I mean, that has to be 1. So our exponent has to be 10 to the second. It has to be 10 to the 0 place, because we know that equals 1. So we would rewrite the question as 523 divided by 1 equals 523. So our exponent is 0. And that's that trick special rule I was trying to show you. And now we're going to move on to what's going to be more realistic. The other thing you might see is a question like this. Which statement is equivalent to multiplying a number by 10 to the third power? Well, if we remember, let's say our decimal is, and I'm going to write this right down here. Let's say our decimal is 43 hundredths. And we multiply that by 10 to the third power like they said. 10 to the third power. Well, the first thing I want to do is rewrite that without the exponent. So I'm going to have 43 hundredths times 10 to the third power is 1,000. And I know when I multiply a decimal by 1,000, it's going to get larger. So I know when I multiply by places of 10 in a decimal, I'm going to move the decimal place to the right, so my number gets larger. Well, how many times I move my decimal place to the right really depends on how many zeros I'm multiplying by. In this case, it's 1,000, so it's going to be 3 places. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then I need to add a 0 there and put my decimal. So my new number would be 430. Now, that doesn't answer the question per se, but that gives us the example. So I need to read these statements and figure out which one it could be. So I'm multiplying a number by 10 to the third power. Well, I know that 10 to the third power is 1,000. So I'm going to move my decimal place 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And I moved it to the right because my decimal got larger. So A, add in 10 3 times. Well, we know it can't be A because I didn't add. B, add in 3 10 times. Well, I know it can't be B either because I didn't add. So my only 2 realistic options are C and D, which both talk about multiplying. So C talks about multiplying by 10 3 times, and D talks about multiplying by 3 10 times. Well, I know that when I did this, I didn't multiply by 3. I multiplied by 10, which gave me that 1,000. So my correct answer would be C. Another way you may see the same question, it may be if I multiply by 10 to the third.
Michelle Scott, can you please go to the guidance office?
Well, that's
Michelle
annoying.
Scott, can you please go to the guidance office?
If I multiply by 10 to the third power, I know that I'm going to move my decimal 3 places to the right. 1, 2, 3 for each 10. All right, guys. That pretty much covers the powers of 10. Let me know what you think. This was a quick, easy video. See you tomorrow in class.